This video will teach you all you need to know about how to cut glass. I will teach you easy methods and more advanced methods on how to cut and break your glass. And to make this more fun, I have Kurt here who has zero experience and he'll be following along with you.
There's a lot going on here, but I think it's gonna be great.
Let's get started. Safety is super important. The first thing you want to know is you need to wear closed-toed shoes. Also, safety glasses. Kurt, you want to put your safety glasses on? You gotta always wear these. If you hurt your eyes, then you can't see. Last thing is gloves. These are made for stained glass. They have like a rubber coating on them so little pieces don't pierce your hand. One other thing that I consider safety is this waffle grid. It's a great way to cut glass. It's a flat surface, but little pieces that break off go in this grid, so they're not all over your work area. The tools we'll be using today, a glass cutter and glass pliers. These are really the only two tools you need in order to cut glass. Other things that would help are oil for your glass cutter and various pliers, and a ruler is nice to have. Maybe a Sharpie too. Now I'm gonna talk about the different kinds of glass. I have a clear piece and it's just smooth on both sides. I've also got a textured piece where it's got some roughness on one side and the other side it's smooth. There's lots of different kinds of glass, but to keep this simple, you'll run into more smooth glass and more rough glass. And I'm gonna show you how to cut both kind. I've got my area all set up. We're both outlined the same. There's gonna be a straight cut, a curved, and kind of like a double curve. Now we're gonna grab our glass cutter. We can start with our most basic one. This one doesn't have oil in it, so I have a little cap filled with oil. You just wanna lightly dip your scoring wheel in the oil. You don't need a lot. It just really helps to make a nice, clean, smooth cut. So first we're gonna use the glass cutter to score a line on the glass. And then we'll want our breaking pliers nearby to break it right after we make that score line. So now we're ready to start our first cut. Okay. If you'd like to watch me first, feel free to kind of move this so that it's in line with how you're gonna cut it. You wanna have your wheel as close to the edge as you can without it rolling off and chipping the edge of the glass. And then you just wanna apply pressure and you wanna listen so you hear the sound. And then as you approach the end, you start to kind of lighten up so that you don't, again, kind of just run off the edge and chip the edge of the glass. After you've made your nice score, you take your running pliers, make sure that either the bolt or the line is face up. If you have a line on yours, line it up exactly. And then all you have to do is press down, and then that's it.
That seems easy enough.
Yeah, are you ready to try?
Yeah. Does it matter how I hold it?
I usually like to put my thumb on top, but that's why there's different kinds of glass cutters in case you have a preference. And let it up. Yeah, that's good. Good job.
I didn't realize how much pressure has to go into it to be able to hear that sound.
Well, little cutters are, I think, harder to work with. So then you want to make sure the line's up and in line. You want the score line to be on top.
Okay. Does it matter how far I put the pliers into the glass?
You want to leave it close to the end. Wait, that was a good question.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
You did great. Look, he just cut his first piece of glass. Perfect. Great job. So now that you've just got done cutting your first piece of glass, how did it go?
It was really just the pressure. I think that's what kind of threw me off. You really have to apply a lot of pressure to it. I'm a little nervous to see how the curve lines go, but for the most part, that one felt pretty good.
You just don't want to ever score over a score line that you've already made. Let's say we go about halfway and then we lift up our cutting tool and then we want to turn our glass a little bit. You just go right where you left off. So we're gonna do a curve. First I'm gonna just go ahead and score along the line. So see, I'm gonna stop halfway so I can move my glass. I'm gonna find where I left off and I'm gonna keep going. I also kind of like walk my other hand next to it to sort of like help me, like almost as like a guide. Before I break this, I'm gonna add one more score line. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of go with the curve right here in the middle, and then I'm just gonna go to the end of this side.
Okay.
It'll just help in case something were to go haywire with this cut. So I'm gonna bring it to the edge and cut that, and then the other edge and get that piece. And so there you have it.
Yeah, you make it look so easy.
Are you ready to try yours?
Yeah, I think so.
Again, just cut like you did with the straight line and take your time with it.
Okay, I already kind of got off my mark, but
that's okay.
Find my spot again, like you said.
Yeah, so the reason why we're doing 2 cuts on this curved line is because when glass breaks, it wants to break in a straight line. So by giving it 1 little extra break line is what it's called, it allows us to have 2 more straight kind of breaks.
That makes sense.
Just kind of want to follow to the outer edge.
And I'll take your advice and I'll hold it
Yes.
to the table.
Quick learner. Oh, look at that, you did it. Now turn it around to the other edge of the glass. And then bring your pliers in a little more so you have space on both sides.
Look at that.
You did it.
I was second guessing myself at first. Once you actually start scoring the glass, it kind of wants to stay in that straight line.
So now we've used the running pliers to break our score lines twice for 2 different kinds of cuts. But for this S curve, I'm going to change it a little bit, cutting it just like we have been. Okay, so we'll call this the top side, and this is the side that I made my score line. We'll flip it over. Either one of these tools you can tap with, holding it close to the surface of the table. And I'm just gonna start tapping lightly all along my score line. This is getting into more advanced, okay? Just letting you know. So don't be discouraged. You have to really listen to how this is breaking and also looking with your eyes and taking your time. So as I'm tapping and I'm going all along the line, back and forth, I'm looking. And you can start to see how it's gonna break, you know, areas where it's starting to let loose. You just wanna keep it even. And then as far as that hearing, the sound, it starts to have a different sound as it's getting close to breaking. It starts to kind of be a lower pitch instead of higher. There you go.
Oh, okay, I'm excited to try that one. That seems fun. This one's a little bit trickier.
And if you need to like lift up and reposition, you're doing great though. Do you remember what we do next?
Yeah, so this is considered the top now.
Yeah.
So then we flip it to the back, right? And then I'll use the end of this and I tap right on my score line, right?
Yep.
I saw it back through there. And I can hear that pitch change.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, you did great.
Yeah, that's actually, I feel like these breaks are almost a little bit more clean.
Yeah.
In a sense compared to some of my other breaks that I did.
With curves, I tend to like to tap. I wanted to show you how to still use the running pliers with that other curve, but with that other curve, you could have tapped it too. The only time I wouldn't suggest tapping the glass though is if the glass you're working with is really grainy. Even if it has a smooth side, it can be like, have a mind of its own. So now that we know the basics of cutting glass, let's go ahead and try out the textured one. You might wonder, how am I supposed to cut this textured glass? Basically, there's a smooth side, and that's the side you want to cut on.
That makes a lot more sense. For some reason, I thought we would have to be cutting through all these little ridges and waves. Does it always have a smooth side, or are there times that you have to work through texture?
All textured glass has a smooth side to cut on. However, that doesn't mean that there aren't some kinds of glass that is still kind of rough, even on the smooth side. It could be challenging. So just cutting this.
I made it look easy enough.
If you're new to cutting glass, make sure that you choose glass that is more smooth because it's gonna be easier for you.
Even on this one, I can tell, although there's that smooth side, there still is a little bit of texture to it. I think I'm ready. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try. Right here, apply the pressure. Oh.
That sounded really good.
I did notice it kind of jumped a little bit. It wasn't as smooth as the clear glass. So now that I got my score, am I able to tap this glass?
I probably wouldn't recommend it because you don't want to damage the texture of it. Also, you run the risk of the glass breaking not where you want it to because it's already got these pre-existing grooves and lines, and it might just kind of run with that if you're tapping it.
I'll use the pliers and I have to make sure the bolt is up, right on the line, and apply pressure for the break. Wow, I'm becoming a natural at this.
Yeah, you are.
I feel like it went really well and I feel like I could do this now.
I think you did great. None of your glass broke the way you didn't want it to.
Yeah.
So yay. We'll be doing a lot more videos just like this one. So if you have any questions at all, please put them in the comments below. And thank you guys so much for watching.
Subscribe.